Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so today we're diving deep into a feeling that, let's be real, pretty much all of us have experienced at some point. Have you ever looked around at your life, realized that everything looks absolutely perfect on paper, but you still feel completely unsettled inside? It's a totally baffling experience. You've got the job, the friends, the stable routine, but something just feels off. Well, today we're going to unpack exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how we can actually fix it. So let's just dive right into this massive question. Why do we feel lost even when everything is fine? This question really shines a light on a hidden and frankly often painful disconnect between our external reality and our internal emotional state. You see, life sometimes throws us into situations we never thought we'd be in, and we try our absolute hardest just to push through them. But while we're hustling and pushing through externally, we might be entirely out of touch with what's actually happening to us on the inside. Let's break down exactly why this happens. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the two types of fine. This right here absolutely hits the nail on the head. Look at this stark contrast. On one hand, we have external fine. This is the version of you where everything around you looks perfectly okay, life is moving along, things seem incredibly stable, and honestly, from the outside looking in, absolutely nothing appears wrong. You're crushing it. But then we have internal fine, which is how you actually feel on the inside. A lot of times internally, there's this massive backlog of unprocessed thoughts, feelings, and emotions just sitting there. And our source material makes a really critical point here. If these internal feelings aren't addressed, if we don't give them proper space, they slowly create a huge disturbance in your daily well-being. It's like the surface of the ocean is totally calm, but underneath, the waters are violently churning. Now, when we start to feel that internal churn, what does society usually tell us? We constantly hear these cliché, well-meaning pieces of advice, right? Like, life is short, enjoy the moment. Or maybe you hear, stop overthinking, just keep moving. And sure, while these phrases sound fantastic on a coffee mug, they completely miss the mark when it comes to our actual psychological reality. They're basically just gently asking us to ignore those turning waters. Because here's the absolute truth of the matter. Our experience of the moment depends entirely on how we feel inside. You literally cannot force yourself to enjoy the present moment if your internal world is weighed down by a ton of unaddressed feelings. Sometimes we aren't able to stay present, not because we don't want to, but because something deep within us feels thoroughly unsettled. Actually, scratch that. It's more like there are heavy feelings from the past that were totally avoided, ignored, or forcefully shoved down. You just can't command your brain to magically enjoy a beautiful sunset if it's working overtime managing a heavy load of suppressed emotions. Which leads us directly into Section 2, the trap of avoidance. And that naturally bleeds right into Section 3, when healthy becomes avoidance. Okay, let's talk about the really obvious stuff first. We all recognize the frantic ways we try to outrun our feelings. Binge watching TV for 6 hours straight, drinking, or just constantly going out and partying. We lean on these things to numb out so we simply don't have to feel the discomfort. We all know these aren't exactly healthy ways to deal with our inner turmoil, right? But hey, they're super easy to spot. But, and this is where it gets fascinating, what usually follows those unhealthy tactics is something much, much trickier. We're talking about healthy-looking avoidance. Taking a super demanding new job role you don't even really want, just so you have an excuse to stay busy. Or going to the gym relentlessly, and I don't mean for fitness, I mean purely to distract yourself. Constantly booking up your calendar, meeting people, changing environments. You aren't socializing because you're craving genuine connection, you're doing it because you are absolutely terrified of sitting alone with yourself in a quiet room. You're burning an immense amount of energy just to run away from your own mind. On paper, it looks incredibly healthy, but in reality, it is pure 100% avoidance. Let's pivot over to Section 4, why emotions stay with us. Picture this, you're at a great party. The music is awesome, the food is great, everyone around you is laughing and having the time of their lives. So externally, everything is totally fine. Yet internally, you feel completely, totally unsettled. You feel like you're the only person there who can't tap into that happiness. You just feel detached, numb, and totally isolated, even though you're standing in a crowded room. In that exact moment at the party, your discomfort is basically screaming at you, trying to tell you something. The reality is our minds and bodies are incredibly connected, and unresolved emotions, they don't just magically poof and disappear because we decided to distract ourselves. Those pushed away feelings are actively hijacking how we respond in the present moment. And here's the kicker: no matter how much you try to curate things on the surface, avoidance only works for a little while. Eventually, all those unresolved parts pop up in totally unexpected ways. Your avoidance slowly morphs into a permanent behavioral pattern, and suddenly your entire day-to-day life is just one big cycle of running away. All right, so how do we break the cycle? Let's look at section 5, the 10-minute solution. If you genuinely want to bridge this massive gap between your perfectly curated external life and your chaotic internal feelings, the fix is honestly surprisingly simple. You have to start by just being there for yourself. You literally have to be willing to finally show up for the person inside. So, how do we actually put that into practice? Enter the 10-minute observation. By following these 4 simple steps, you can finally start to break that pattern. Step 1, just give yourself 10 minutes. That's it. Step 2, sit down and try to stay completely calm. Step 3, just observe whatever comes to your mind and let those thoughts flow. Don't judge them, don't fight them, just watch them. And step 4, and this is absolutely crucial: no running, no distractions. Put the phone in another room, don't turn on a podcast, just sit in the stillness and create a safe little bubble to simply observe what's happening in your internal reality. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one really profound question to chew on. If you stopped running today, what would your feelings actually tell you? We spend so much of our precious time and energy curating this perfect external fine that we completely abandon our internal fine. The next time you find yourself getting excessively busy for no reason or feeling totally empty in a crowded room, remember that your emotions are literally just waiting for you to sit down and listen. So give yourself those 10 minutes today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I really hope this helps you build a deeper, much more genuine connection with yourself.